You have to then wonder why a Lululemon is doing so well. I mean, in some instances, it's sort of a status symbol. Even my 10-year-old is asking for Lululemon, doesn't even know what the cost of a piece of clothing from Lululemon costs. But even she's on board with this, and she's Gen Alpha, not even Gen Z. How much of this is sort of like customer loyalty and branding, and really about status when it comes to Lulu?
I think it's absolutely huge. I mean, just look at that broader sort of luxury segment. The LVMHs, Richemonts of the world, these are some of the best performing stocks over the last couple of years. It's all about branding. It's all about pricing power. It's all about sort of aspiration. And throughout the sort of cost of living crisis and concerns about recession, they have just powered ahead. And I think that speaks an awful lot to that. I mean, this is a real two-tier economy that we have right now. And you see it everywhere. You see it as being luxury and discretionary. You see it between, services and manufacturing. The sort of broad brush takeaways you've got to be a little bit careful with, because you have these huge gaps in a lot of markets right now.
And I guess that's a weird, or interesting, at least I should say, place that Lululemon sits, is that if the consumer is saying, all right, we don't have as much to spend on luxury, then it's, okay, pan the message towards athletics and being able to make sure that you've got materials that lean more towards the active base out there. And then if it does pan more towards luxury, it's, okay, let's play up our designs that we've got. And so kind of in that messaging or in that realm here, where clearly we have a consumer that is looking across perhaps some of the more luxury spends and saying, let's trade that down a little bit, or let's at least moderate that. Where do some of the companies who have had that messaging for so long on the luxury end need to kind of pivot at this point?
You're absolutely seeing some trading down, and you're seeing trading down from high-end luxury to maybe sort of everyday luxury, which might be where sort of Lulu sits. Consumers are absolutely picking their spots, right? They're still reasonably healthy, but they're picking their spots. You're seeing that. I'm spending on treasure, on leisure, travel. I'm going to those concerts, but then when I go to the store, I'm going to the dollar store, and I'm going to the grocery store, and I'm buying the own brand. So consumers are picking their spots, and as I said earlier, 96% of the U.S. workforce has a job. The issue there is not that they're going to lose their job; it's the fear that they might lose their job, and I think that's what's driving. That's what's driving the consumer here. I mean, unemployment may go up 1% here, 1.5%, but it's really the fear that the other sort of 96% are feeling that they may lose their job, which is, I think, one of the things that's just going to grow from here and put a bit of a dampener on what so far has been an extraordinarily strong consumption environment.
And so, Ben, as you mentioned, consumers picking their spots, potentially we could be getting a new iPhone 15. Is that a spot that you think consumers will be willing to go for?
Was a lot of people banking, that they hope they are, right? I mean, you've had 2 years of declining global smartphone sales. The replacement cycle has lengthened. Consumers are being, a bit more cautious about where they spend. They haven't been upgrading. If anybody can kickstart that, that smartphone cycle, it's going to be Apple. And I think there's an awful lot riding on it. Half of Apple's sales come from the iPhone. They've got 200 suppliers, around the world. U.S. mobile stocks from Verizon to AT&T to T-Mobile are basically the worst performing and cheapest stocks in the S&P 500. We've got a blockbuster ARM IPO, which is coming our way in a couple of weeks. I mean, all of those are absolutely dependent on the health of the smartphone cycle. And as I say, if anybody can give it a jolt in the arm in a couple of weeks, it's going to be Apple.
Can smartphones be as successful as stretchy pants then in China?
We'll see, right? I'm not the expert on stretchy pants, but fingers crossed.